Wisdom says I'm nothing, but love says that I'm everything. And it's between those two that my life unfolds.
Hello, thank you for joining me for this foundational yoga pose series. Today we will be going over Surya Namaskar B. Quite similar to Surya Namaskar A or Sun Salutation A's, with a bit more of a variation, nothing too more complex. We'll have a bit of a warm-up, then go through some variations of this series, as well as some accessibility options. So go ahead and grab maybe a block, your mat, and we'll get started with the practice. No, lay down. No. So begin our practice in a comfortable seat. You can be up on your knees, cross-legged. We'll just start with some attention to our breath. As we begin, taking a deep inhale through your nose, filling up your abdomen, letting that rise to your ribs, up to the crown of your head. And with a sigh, releasing a deep exhale, reversing the order of the breath that we filled into our bodies from our crown, down to our ribs, into our abdomen. From here, letting your next inhale fill to the crown of your head, and then we'll exhale through our noses, closing our mouth. Teeth are touched to the back of your teeth, not holding tension in our jaw. Letting your attention maintain on your breath, releasing what has become before in the day, and releasing what is yet to come. Showing yourself some appreciation for showing up for your practice. Stepping on your mat, giving yourself this space and this time to develop. Continuing these inhales and exhales. Go ahead and plant our hands, roll over to hands and knees. Start with a simple cat-cow. As we inhale, we're dropping our bellies, lifting our tailbone, pulling our chest through our shoulders, retracting shoulder blades. As we exhale, starting from our tailbone, tucking through our spine, curling our chin into our chest, arching our back towards the sky. Inhale pulls us back through into cow. Exhaling into cat. Coming back to a flat back, we'll go ahead and extend our right leg back. Our heel is pushing behind us. firmly, helping keep balance. Hip is in line with your left hip, reaching that left hand forward. Facing your breath. If your breath becomes strained, back off a little bit. And planting your knee and your hand back on the ground, reaching your left heel back towards the back edge of your mat. Again, hip is in line with your right hip. Extending right hand forward. Pushing firmly down into the left planted hand. Shoulder over wrist, as if you're pushing the mat away from yourself, help keeping lift in your torso. Dropping those hands, staying on your right knee. You're gonna step your left foot towards the outside of your left hand. You come into a lizard stretch. Roll onto the edge of that foot. Here you can take some hip circles, swaying side to side, feeling that opening in that front right hip, outer left hip. Your hands firmly planted. Go ahead and step your left knee back in line with your right knee, and then we'll take our right foot, step that towards the outside of our right hand. Drop your hips. Make swaying patterns where you can stay in stillness. You have a little bit of engagement in that back left glute. Helps open this front left hip and then create stability so we're not dumping all of our weight into our hands, but our hands are primarily holding us here. From here, you can have your feet spread wide still, hands planted. I'm gonna go ahead and step our left foot. Tuck those toes and come into a squat position. You can have your feet as wide as necessary. I've got what I think is a sprained ankle on my right ankle. My tendon is very tender, quite swollen, bruised. I'm slowly working through it. From here, if this is too much, just find your way onto your seat. We're gonna do some hand stretches. So fingertips will be facing towards the back edge of your mat. Space between those fingers. And put a slight bend in your elbows if needed. And you're just gonna slowly transfer your weight back and forth between those palms. Flipping your hands over, fingertips will still be facing backwards, but we'll have the backs of our palms onto the ground. From here, bringing your feet slightly in, about hips distance, coming into a forward fold. Trying to keep our attention on the instruction and our breath. Inhale brings us to a halfway lift. Exhale into our forward fold. unraveling as we inhale into Utkatasana. So we'll begin with the Sun Salutation A, just to start to get warmed up, and then we will go into our Surya Namaskar B. The differences being that we don't come up into a full Tadasana at the very beginning. We will have a round on each side where we come into a Warrior One pose with vinyasa transitions in between. Feel free to modify as needed. You can always keep the knees bent until your legs start to warm up through any of these. Take the pressure off of your low back. Hands can always be at your heart. If it's too much to extend your hands above your head, making sure that you're pacing yourself, maintaining your awareness of your breath, and your attitude towards the practice. Stay open with curiosity. For any chaturangas, you can have your knees against the ground into a half chaturanga and have fun. While we're here in Tadasana, take one more moment, find our breath, preferably breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your nose, and keeping even length of our inhale and our exhale. If it helps, you can count the pacing. I'd recommend inhaling for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds. That rhythm gives your mind something to attach to while still focusing on your breath and keeping tempo with our movement. Yoga practice is much more than just physical exercise. It's the capacity to stay in our bodies while we move through these asana. Helps build focus. And navigation of ourselves and our bodies and out into this world. One more deep breath. Exhaling. As we inhale, we'll reach our hands to the sky. Touching our hands together, swan diving into our forward fold, exhale, inhale to a halfway lift, stepping back into a chaturanga. You can come on your knees if needed. Taking one moment here in chaturanga, shoulders above our wrists, feet are flexed, heels pushing back, hips aren't higher than our chest, pushing our shoulder blades away. Vision is gazing out about 3 feet in front of you. We'll come down into our chaturanga, elbows tucking into our ribs, retracting the shoulder blades. Into our first cobra pose or upward dog. Tucking your toes, pushing back into a downward dog. In our downward dog, the tail is the peak, reaching towards the sky. Heels are pushing down towards the mat. It's okay if they aren't touching the mat. You just want that force along the back line of your legs to be extending down. Hands planted a bit wider than your shoulders. Trying to wrap your elbows as if they were turning towards your ears. Keeping space between our shoulders and our ears. As our hands push towards our tail, feet are pushing towards our tail. It's as if we were being lifted from your tail by a string up into the atmosphere. Chest is folding, well, not folding, but as if you're trying to tuck your chest towards your thighs. So even though this is like a rest pose, everything is still fully engaged. As we exhale, stepping or hopping towards the top of your mat. Exhale as you come into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Back into our forward fold with our exhale. And then folding into Utkatasana. So that was our Sun Salutation A. Now we'll go into our Surya Namaskar B. We're going to do 5 repetitions of the Surya Namaskar B. Each time we'll have a little bit of variation. So again, pace yourself. Keep your mind with your breath. If you need to take a break, don't beat yourself up for it. It's very okay. Make any variations you feel right is your practice. Practice today. Exhaling, coming into our forward fold. Inhale to the halfway lift. Stepping back, planting that left knee onto the ground. Your foot is flat against the ground, coming into a low lunge, right knee is forward. You can still have your fingertips placed on the ground. Bring your hand up to that knee, trying to open up into these hips more. Keeping engagement of our glutes. Chest is still lifting high, gaze is forward. Dropping our hands to the ground, taking our right foot, stepping back into a chaturanga, getting your stability, tucking your elbows into your ribs, coming through into a cobra pose, back into downward dog. Staying with your breath. Gonna lift that left heel back as if we were pushing that foot towards the back edge of the mat, away from us. Bring that hand through, stepping that foot between our hands, dropping our right knee. Foot is on the ground, foot's flat against the ground. And coming up into a low lunge on our opposite side. Planting our hands, stepping our left foot back into a chaturanga. Exhaling up into cobra or upward dog. The upward dog is going to be having your feet flat against the ground, lifting our knees off the mat, still pulling our chest through, tucking our toes back into downward dog. Next inhale, we step or hop towards the top of our mat for a forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Hands can be on your shins. You have the arm length of the flexibility for it. You can still keep your fingers planted on the ground. Tail is reaching back, pulling your spine away from your tail. Forward fold on our exhale. Inhale to Utkatasana. lift our hands up towards the sky, touching palms together, exhaling into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we step back into our chaturanga. And back into downward dog. Next inhale, we'll lift our right heel up. Doesn't have to be so high. You do have a bit of a back bend in your back as we lift. Pushing, reaching back through that heel. Stepping that towards the top of our mat. In between our hands. Making sure that there's plenty of space between our hips so that we're more on railroad tracks. They're not exactly in line. Stepping that left heel up slightly. Toes are going to be pointed towards the corner of your mat. Your weight is being held firm in that back left leg, coming up into a warrior one. We have a good bend in this front knee, pressing through that back line of this back left foot. Hips still even. If you need, you can keep your hands on your hips or have your hands at your heart. If you feel comfortable, we're lifting our hands. Pinkies are turning inward. Still maintaining awareness of that breath. Planting our hands. Turning that back left foot in. Stepping right foot back. Coming into a chaturanga. Downward dog. Next inhale, lifting that back left heel. Here, it's not about how high you are, but more how much stability and strength you can push back with that left foot as we stay firmly planted into our hands. Stepping that left foot forward. Locking that back right heel as if our toes are pointing towards the corner of our mat. Weight is held on that back edge of that right foot. Generous bend in this front knee. This knee is tracking in line with your toes. Taking our hips if we're opening too much out. Trying to rotate these in while still keeping that external rotation of that foot and that thigh slightly. Once we have that foundation, lifting our hands towards the sky, making sure not to hike our shoulders up into our ears, keeping space there. This is if we're using our lats and our triceps to do this pulling motion. Space between our fingers. Planting our hands towards the mat, stepping back with that left foot into your chaturanga, vinyasa of choice. Exhaling back into downward dog. Stepping towards the top of your mat or hopping, if you're doing a hop, you're going to put a slight bend in your knees. Lift your heels up. Keep your hands firmly planted. It's like you're preparing to hop here, and then kicking up with your feet to bring your feet in between your hands and your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Allowing yourself to slowly roll up into Utkatasana. Palms reach above us, touching fingers and palms together. Slight backward bend. Swan diving down into our forward fold as we exhale. As your legs start to warm up, try to put a little more straightness into the backs of your thighs without locking out your knees. Planting our hands, stepping back into a chaturanga of your choice. Cobra upward dog. Exhale into downward dog. Next inhale, let your right heel lift. We're not turning this hip out. We're extending that foot back. And we're not opening up our torso to the side either. We're keeping even space between our hands while our torso is still reaching back towards that thigh in our normal downward dog. Stepping right foot through. Turning back left heel. Up into our warrior one. Once you feel that stable foundation, we're going to go ahead and reach our hands behind our back. Clasp our hands, remembering which thumb we have on top. From here, we're pulling our hands down towards the ground, opening up into our collarbones, our sternum. Our legs are staying firmly grounded in the position that we had. So without coming out of that bend in that front knee, we're going to slowly come into a humble warrior. So we're kicking our hips back, still maintaining the depth in that front knee, still firmly planting into that back left leg. You just come to where you're setting your chest on this thigh. So your legs are doing a lot of the strong work here. If this feels comfortable and you want to push that further, you start to bring that right shoulder to the inside of that right knee. And then from there you can imagine as if you were trying to reach your head towards the ground. You're squeezing your triceps, firmly clasping your palms together, pulling your back of your shoulders away from you, keeping grounded in those legs, coming back up, reaching our hands towards the sky, finishing out on our warrior one, planting our hands, stepping right foot back, exhaling vinyasa, into our downward dog. Touching that back left heel into our 3-leg downward dog. Stepping left foot up between our hands, rotating that back right heel, finding our foundation, remembering all those cues, still keeping in tune with our breath. Inhale, lifts our hands towards the sky. From here, we'll take the opposite clasp, opposite of what thumb you had on top last time. Pulling our chest through, opening up our shoulders, squeezing shoulder blades. This is if you're trying to have your shoulder blades touch, triceps are engaged. Coming down into our humble warrior on our left side. Inhaling lets us slowly lift, extending our hands into our warrior one. Plant hands, stepping back into your vinyasa. Sitting at the top of your mat, or forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhaling to Utkatasana. So, traditionally, Surya Namaskar B is the vinyasas incorporating the warrior one pose, doing that on both sides. So then that humble warrior variation that we just did is just an adaptation. And this is to show you that we have our foundational work, which is our building blocks. But there are so many avenues that we can explore from these building blocks. And that is the awesome part about yoga, is that it has these core components, but there are many branches that grow off of these foundational poses. And thus, we're in our foundational yoga pose series. From Tadasana, inhaling, extending our hands up, coming into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands planted, stepping back into Chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog. Back into our downward dog. Relaxing your belly, standing firmly, lower hands, pushing our shoulders away, if our torso could reach the thighs, back line of your legs reaching towards the ground. So comfortable, you can have a bit more distance between the feet. If you could fit a fist between your feet, if it's too much to have your toes touching. Next inhale, lifting our back right leg, pulling that knee into our chest as we step our right foot through our hands, turning that back foot towards the ground, up into our warrior one, finding our firm foundation in our legs, our lower bodies, keeping us grounded as our hands reach towards the sky, as if we're pulling our upper body away, so we have our grounding, and then we have the lightness in our upper body. From here, we'll go ahead and come into cactus arms. So still as if we're trying to touch shoulder blades together, we're going to put a bend into those elbows, let our heart reach through. From here, closing our fists, keeping stable in our legs. We're going to bring our forearms together. Exhaling into our cactus arms. Heart shines. Inhaling, forearms together. Exhaling, cactus arms. Final round. From here, reaching our fingertips down towards the ground, spiraling them up towards the sky. And then planting our hands, stepping into our vinyasa of choice. You can take a child's pose if needed. Inhale, let that left heel lift up towards the sky. Knee to chest. Just step that left foot through, tilting that back foot up into our warrior one with our left knee, foot forward. Chest is lined up at the top of our mat. Putting that bend in the elbows, letting your heart shine. Exhale, forearms touch. Inhale, opening up your heart. Exhale. Final round here. Spiraling our hands up to our warrior one. Taking an inhale. As we exhale, planting our hands, stepping back in your chaturanga. The downward dog. Letting the weight of our head drop down towards the floor, pushing your chest towards your thighs. Finding your way into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rolling up into Utkatasana. Being patient with yourself is key here. If this is all new to you, taking your time, coming back to revisit this practice, pausing the video, trying out these variations on your own, implementing that sense of curiosity into your practice, and enjoying are all byproducts of that determination and persistence that we need to apply here. And the good, joyous feelings that we get from overcoming these challenges are that byproduct. No one becomes flexible overnight. The byproduct of yoga is that honing of your flexibility. There's a lot of mental coaching that we might need to apply to keep us showing up onto our mat. And for that, I commend you. It's not always easy, especially to try new things, to step out of that comfort zone. Maybe the best you can do today. No one is getting on you for doing the best you can do. From our Utkatasana, lifting our hands towards the sky, touching our palms together, going into the backward bend if that's comfortable. Finding your way into your forward fold as you exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Stepping back in your chaturanga. The meeting in downward dog. Sitting that right heel towards the sky. Knee to chest as you pull that foot through. Pitching that right foot down towards or left back foot towards the ground. Weight is on that back line of that foot. Having enough space between our hips. Extending our hands towards the sky. From here, staying stable in this front leg, we're going to go ahead and bring that back left foot, lifting the heel off the ground, putting a slight more of a bend in that front right knee into a crescent lunge. Lowering our hands to our heart. We're going to let our torso drop forward and find our way into a twist. Feeling that strength in that front right knee. We're locking this elbow, the left elbow, onto that knee as our hands still stay at our heart. So we're keeping a tall spine, crown is reaching forward. That back left heel is pushing back away from us. Having all the toes still staying strong. And we're trying to feel the sense of having our belly button turn towards this right thigh. Still a generous bend in this front right knee. If you want to take this further, you can drop that left hand on the outside edge of that right foot. Extend your right arm up and find a bit of a deeper twist. Took that variation, bring your hands back to heart, slowly lifting up, back into a crescent lunge, hands reach up towards the sky, planting your hands, stepping right foot back into vinyasa of your choice, upward dog or cobra, downward dog. That left heel back, stepping the left foot through, up into our warrior one. Lifting the right heel off the ground, up onto our toes into a crescent lunge. Taking a breath, exhale, let your hands come into your heart. Do a prayer pose, starting to find that twist as you lean your torso forward, hooking that right elbow under the left knee. There's a bit of a back bend here, so we're not hunching into this twist, but we're letting our erector muscles engage into a back bend. Chest is still shining through. Still staying firm in those feet. Feeling that burn in that front left thigh. Squeezing our hips together. Turning belly button towards this left thigh's side. Using the strength of your legs to lift yourself back up, extending your hands up towards the sky, planting hands into your vinyasa. In your downward dog, finding your space. Gaining your composure in your breath, letting your mind rest. Stepping or hopping up towards the top of your mat. Your forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Up into Utkatasana. For our final repetition, we're just going to do the base form of the Surya Namaskar B. Taking these tips, these alignment cues, these positionings, and the knowledge you've gained so far in this practice, and seeing what you've learned, along with having your body more opened up, exploring how these poses now feel. Inhale, lifts our arms towards the sky. Forward fold. We exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, planting our hands. Finding your vinyasa. Exhale, we extend that right foot. Step that foot through. Turning your back line of your foot towards the ground. Extending our hands towards the sky as we inhale. 3 rounds of breath here. See if you notice anything feeling different. Anything feels looser. Or if you still are noticing spots of tension, bringing your focus onto those spots. If you can release anything. One last inhale as we exhale, letting our hands plant on the ground. Stepping back in Chaturanga, finding our way into Cobra or Upward Dog. Back bend of your choice. Exhale into Downward Dog. Final round here. Inhale, sends that foot. Stepping that left foot through. Turning your back right heel. Finding that on the ground. Keeping your hips in line. Strong legs. Lifting our hands towards the sky. As we come through that last round, planting our hands, stepping back into our final vinyasa. Back bend of your choice. And Downward Dog. From here, lifting that right heel one more time. Pulling that through, we're going to let our knee come up to our wrist into a pigeon pose. So here, the further you have your foot bent away from your center of gravity, the more you're going to feel the stretch. If you pull that foot in more, we aren't opening as wide into those hips. It is important to keep that flexion in your ankle. If you need to, you can use blocks to help yourself stay here. If you'd like to go further, you can lower your torso down onto the mat. If you were using any breath techniques, letting that go, letting your heart rate slow back down. You can always have a block under this right glute. If that lift is too much for you here, or one more variation for pigeon pose you can always do is on your back. You'll have that left leg extended, and you're just gonna keep that flexion in that ankle, but pull this leg into your torso. It's the same stretch, it's just not bearing as much weight onto those hips. From that pigeon pose, we're tucking back left toes, stepping that right foot back, and extend that out up into the sky one last time. We're just coming to downward dog, and then we'll lift our left heel, pull that knee up into our wrist, into pigeon pose on our left side. Once you feel comfortable holding stillness in this pose, from here, find your way back up on your hands. Using your hands to keep you stable, we're just gonna slowly let our hips drop into our left glute. Take this right leg towards the top of our mat. Your left heel side finds the inside thigh. Your right side, letting your tall spine pull you up. Hands are extending. As we start to forward fold, we're still reaching our ribs away from our hips, letting our hands find their space. Your hands can be rested wherever is comfortable for you. Letting the inhale fill up your lungs, find extension. Exhales, relaxing your muscles while keeping that extension. Letting our foreheads come down towards our knee. Slowly lifting back up, extending your left foot. Right foot finds your left thigh. Tall spine lifting as we extend our hands. Exhale into your forward fold. back up. We're going to extend both feet. We'll find our way down into our Shavasana. If you need, you can let yourself rest in Shavasana for longer. Feel free to take a nap if you have the time. We'll slowly let our consciousness start to fill our bodies again. Taking a deep breath. And then exhale. Stretch out through your fingers and toes. Coming back for a fresh start for the rest of our day. With renewed sense and inspiration. You can roll over to one side, cradling your head, and find your way up to your seat. Push yourself up into that seat. Just come into a comfortable cross-leg position. And here we'll bring our hands to our heart. The work isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's ugly. We fall. Our mental chatter is hard to calm. So it's the most you did today. you should just show up on your mat. That is just enough. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate your practice. Thank you for letting me facilitate this journey with you. Namaste.
The two corners of the mouth lifting to the sky. That's called a smile.